Professor G. I got a new Sentra, and I think you're half right. The engines on those cars are solid, but I think Nissan got a lot of flack because of their transmissions, and rightfully so. They've worked on them to make them better. CVTs are not like traditional transmissions. They shouldn't be thought of like clutch-based transmissions. You must maintain them and change the oil in them like Nissan says. I like that car because it gives me peace of mind. I'm not dailying that Miata. It's like a mosh pit every time I get in it. Fun, yes. Everyday mosh pit, no. I think Mazda still uses the old transmissions. They should be good for a while. Toyota is making the switch, last I heard. Don't know about the others. Honda is on the CVT train too. I wouldn't get an American car, however, a truck, yes. Go American if you want a truck. Well, a few things. Talking about the truck, yeah, I think Ford still makes probably the best truck around you can get, other than maybe, Toyota Tacomas. Like when it comes to, does Nissan even make a truck nowadays? I don't think they do. Honda, do they still make the Ridgeline? You know, I would say out of the trucks, probably the last one I'd get would be a Ram. And the thing is, I used to have a Ram. I like the Ram, and their older ones I think are a lot more solid than their newer ones. I've heard lots of bad things about their new trucks, and they're really expensive. That's the thing. Like a lot of these vehicles are very, very expensive, but a lot of them are just not that reliable. Now, I would say with the CVT transmissions, Nissan, you say, gets a bad rap, but I went to a video called the Jatco Transmissions, and it was a Nissan sponsored video talking about, Jatco. And that thing has a lot of people commenting, telling them about their nightmares. And one person said that their transmission went out at 60,000. Then another person commented saying their 2016 Altima, I think it might have been 2014, 2016, something like that, is on its third transmission. It's 60,000 miles. Have you ever heard of that? Being on 3 transmissions at 60,000 miles. And not just them, just Jatco as a company. Their CVTs are terrible. And now Toyota, they also have CVT, and Honda has CVT. From what I know, I think Honda, they make their own CVT transmissions, and Toyota's come from a company called Aisin. And Aisin have solid transmissions. I think their CVTs last the longest, but in general, now you're talking to a guy, Professor G. The second time, I had to rebuild the transmission the second time. Your comment was on my story about my transmission falling out in the road, pieces of it. Yeah, a lot of people don't believe it. I didn't believe it either. But that transmission lasted for a long time. I think the problem was it was my grandfather's car that got passed down to me, and I don't think he ever changed the transmission fluid. And it was I think on 125,000 when it failed, I think. So it lasted a long time. Those 90s Nissans, man, up and down the line, those things are solid. Those things are freaking solid. I know a lot of people that still maybe have some of those cars, and some people, they have the 300ZXs and they fix them up real nice. It's a sharp car when it's fixed up. Now think about Nissan in general. These days, Renault, they have a merger with Renault, and it used to be you were getting like a genuine, Japanese Nissan. Nowadays, you don't know what you're getting, because I think it's mostly Renault now. And whenever I hear about troubles or blown head gaskets or lots of issues on cars under 100,000 miles, Nissan was known, Datsun, Nissan, they were known as being just probably right below Toyota and Nissan. So when people get a Nissan nowadays, you're getting, Nissan is just not the same after the Renault merger. But you know what? It could be worse, Professor G. You could have a Chrysler. A Chrysler 200. That crappy car. They canceled the Chrysler 200. I tell you, worst car I ever drove, probably Chrysler 200. All right? And it was new. It was almost brand new. It was a rental car. So maybe it was dogged a little bit, but it looked like it didn't have that many miles on it. I drove it around, and you know how the feeling you get when you just know something was wrong with the car? Felt like the transmission was going out, right? It just didn't, like, there was a delay between I hit the accelerator and then it just kind of jerked into gear, and I was like, something's going on here. So I checked the fluid in it, had full fluid, but I was getting some work done on the Sentra, and I took that rental car back, and I said to the guy, something's wrong with that car. I think transmission. He smiled at me and he said, oh, that's just a 200. Everybody says that about it. So I was like, wow. Like, people actually bought this, like, brand new. People went to a dealership, drove it, and said, that's great.